Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It's Tusky87 back again with another how-to video for first-time users. Today, I will be installing installing a jet kit, stage 1 for my 2001 Yamaha R6. Basically, it's pretty simple. You just pop the carbs off, break them apart, and put the new jet kit in. But before you do all of that, it's best that you always make sure that you have safety in mind. So I like to have safety glasses or goggles, even better. All the proper tools that you need to get the job done. And as always, lights. Because it's no point in working on something that you can't see because you might screw something up. Now, I also have 2 headband lights. Just makes it a little easier for me so that I can shine light where I need it when my hands are full. When you do any type of project like this on your bike, it's always good to have a full set of tools to use. That way you're not scrummaging around trying to figure out, oh crap, you know what goes where, I don't know what bolt goes to what. So always make sure you have a nice full tool set, everything laid out nice and neat in front of you. I also too would encourage you to have a user's manual for your bike so you can figure out how to use it. The kit comes with a instruction or on how to actually install everything, but you need your manual to actually figure out how to get here, because this is where you're going to be working. So you're going to have to know how to remove your seat, to remove your fuel tank, to remove your air box, to remove everything else to actually get to this point here. What I encourage everyone to do is once you pull all of your stuff apart is to basically lay it out nice and neat, kind of like this. And leave all the screws basically either in the part that you took off the bike or either leave it in the hole that you unscrewed it from. So we're going to press on. I also have an instructional video on how to actually get to this part as well. Just look at my chain spark plugs 4-part series on how to actually do that, and I'll show you everything on how to pull this apart to get to this portion. Anyway, back to the jet kit. So comes in this nice little box. You can order it offline or order it at any parts store, service store, and they'll ship it to you. Normally at a parts store they'll charge you about $300 basically for labor. It's about $350 for labor, but the part itself is about $120. It's better if you just pay for the part, learn how to get to know your bike and learn how to break everything apart and just do it yourself. So this kit comes with your instruction manual, your troubleshoot guide after you've input all the parts, and then of course some dyno jet stickers, and that's what I'm using right now. In this kit you have about 4 different parts, and your instruction kit will actually tell you what you want to use. So you can see here has a listing of everything. You have 6 main jet parts, then you have 4 of your needle shrouds to replace the ones that are in there, and then you have your washers and everything else that goes along with that. If you pop that open, you can see all the nice neat stuff. One thing that I don't have out here with me that I will need to get is an actual drill kit, because where you see figure C, you actually have to drill a hole where your adjustment screw is, and I'll show you that when I start working on the bike. So anyway, like I said, make sure you have all your stuff out here, pliers, extendable magnet, I like using that, extra light bulbs in case you break it, and a nice slew of tools to actually work with. So like I said, we're just going to get started on this. First thing you want to do is actually disconnect all the hoses and everything from your carburetor. That way you can just pull it straight out. If it's your first time actually working on your carburetor, there is some screws up under here that's going to give you a hard time to actually get to. And I don't know if you can really see them under here, but there are screws up under here that hold the carburetor to the engine block itself. Me, I've already removed my cars once before. I never screwed those back down because it was just too much of a hassle, and it sits on there pretty well anyway and still holds a good seal. So, like I said, this is everything that you'll be working with. You'll be changing out your needle in here and be using the one that they have in there, and you will be adjusting your stock, adjusting or taking out your stock jet. A lot of people say that you have to break your carb apart. Don't do that. Waste time. And you have to resync your carb once you separate them from one another, because the outside cars, or cars 1 and 2, are synced with one another, and 3 or 4 are synced with one another. And if you take one of those out, you have to resync everything. So like I said, just be mindful of that. what I did before I took everything apart was I actually took my fuel tank off, ran my bike for about 5 minutes until all the gas ran out of the system itself. That way when you pull this apart, none of the fuel drips out on you. Be mindful though that the coolant is still running in the engine blocks, and when you pull it off, it's actually going to drip everywhere. So just be ready to plug the holes and make sure you don't lose any coolant that way, because it'll keep running. So we're going to put this on pause, and we will start back once I get these off. Proof that a motorcycle, an R6, can run without a gas tank. By the way, this thing has been running for the past 5 minutes without a gas tank, so I don't know where the gas is coming from, but apparently it has a nice large reserve inside the tank somewhere. So that's good to know if you ever run out of gas, or if your tank is ever missing or stolen. You know, you can at least ride for a few minutes to the next gas station or ride home if need be. So, just something interesting. Wow. No gas tank, summer. Alright, so now we got the carb out this sucker. Now basically, we just gotta crack it open. When you do disconnect your carb from the actual engine block itself, it's always best to put something on top of the engine block so nothing falls off into the individual cylinders and jacks your bike up, because nothing sucks more than trying to save a few bucks and wind up having to spend a few thousand trying to get this bad boy fixed again. So anyway, as we continue on, I have this little cup here to collect the leftover fluid that was actually in the carb. So when you disconnect some of the hoses, like this coolant hose here, this coolant hose is actually going to have coolant still left in it, and it is going to drip everywhere unless you prepare to catch it and then plug it up like I did just there. So as you can see, here's the actual carburetor taken out. You will have to be mindful of the throttle position, or the idle cable that controls, you know, your idle speed and everything. You're gonna have to actually pop that off, and it kind of goes off down in here somewhere. But anyway, like I said, also be mindful too that even if you do run your engine, fuel is still going to be in the carburetor, and fuel is going to come out of this end here, so it's going to go all the way down and essentially go off into your carbs from here. So keep in mind, fuel is going to be in this line, which is actually connected to, I can't find the piece, it's somewhere in here. Anyway, you'll see it when you try to disconnect it. There's actually fuel going to be in there. This is the coolant return hose, so nothing's actually going to come out of there. So if you want to unlatch this one first, you can. Nothing will come out really. Like I said, just be mindful of this hose here. This is where the fluid comes out, and like I said, you'll see how it connects on the bottom of the carb. So it is actually connected here and here. And like I said, just be mindful, you still have fuel that's in here. So like I said, once you take it out, I just tilt it over something, try to dump out the rest of the fuel, which I've already done, so it shouldn't be any more in there. Be mindful too, when you open up the carb itself, there is going to be fuel in there still. So another good reason to have something like plastic over here to capture all the fuel, because I actually kind of forgot that there was some fuel in there, dumped it all over the place. Fortunately, this was here to keep it from going into the actual engine block itself. Anyway, when you disconnect your carb, move this out the way. When you disconnect your carb and everything and actually get it off of the engine block itself, you're still going to be attached via your throttle cable. So you actually need to unbolt this off of your throttle body, which is why you have to disconnect it and disconnect all these hoses first to be able to maneuver the throttle out. And there's a little bolt right here that is a 8mm that you actually have to kind of finagle your way in here to pop off. Once you pop that off, you can actually pop these throttle cables off of the side of the throttle body from here. And like I said, once you remove all that stuff, it should just be easy pickings to pull out. Be mindful too that while your throttle body's sitting in here, there is your starter cable, which is here. It actually connects to your throttle body right here. So you'll need a screw, just loosen the screw. That's the only screw you need to loosen up. Makes this loose, you can pop that out. And then up under here, there's a little slot where you can just slide the cable out, and then you're disconnected from there. So here's the actual throttle body. throttle body and carb out of the bike. And like I said, we're going to start breaking it down. When you do start breaking this down, like I said, be mindful there still may be fuel in here, so when you pop this off, just be mindful of that. I always like to start with the diaphragm first. So these are your diaphragms. Just make sure you keep in mind which one is which. Make sure you know which cylinder is which. So the outside cylinders is 1 and 4. Inside is 2 and 3. So like I said, just make sure you keep all the pieces for this part together, all the pieces for this diaphragm together, all the pieces for this diaphragm together, and so on and so forth. This is also how you break apart your carbs too, to actually clean them. And once we get this diaphragm off, we'll actually flip the carb over and we'll take off our reservoirs under here. This is where your floats are, and this is actually where the bang jets are going to be. So like I said, once I crack these bad boys open, I'll show you all of that, show you how to actually put the jets in there. It's quite simple once you get to this point, and we can move on from there. So I'll break this up and we'll be back.